Doc here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is just another fun-filled day. It's Tuesday, and what are they doing? They're just lifting the pairs trades up. They're lifting the market up. It just flips back and forth. This is, I guess, what it really comes down to is we've increased our volatility. That's what it really comes down to. And markets, and luckily, it's not like the crazy volatility where we're doing 1,000 points a day. Instead, it's like money trying to pour in and pour out. It goes back and forth, and that's where we are at the moment. You can see it just goes on and on and on. Let's move this up like so. And let's get the fact check spreadsheet going right there. Oh, there it is. Now let's get J4X going. And so, yeah, it's fascinating to see this market do this, I guess, this swing back and forth, back and forth. Now let's go over and take a look at the Swiss this morning, see where the Swiss is, because I would assume the dollar is down, just with the way all the rates and everything are moving. Let's see. I have no doubt in my mind that it's down. It's got to be. Right there. Let's see, and the magic, and let's put it over on the J4X too at the same time. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. There we go. Yeah, it's down right there, okay? And I can see the same, now it hasn't started yet on the Hinky Ashy, but it will soon. This will start to roll over. Notice it's getting a little white up in here, and you can see the lines have already turned. I remember we used the Hinky Ashy to kind of use it as a comprehensive of the dots. It has about a 65 to 70% correlation, so it's something better. George, good morning to you. Metals are finally up. Yeah, it's the one big talk is inflation. So I guess now they have to figure out, okay, the interest rates and inflation. That's what it comes down to. They're trying to, an analyzation of it all. So they're looking at it and they're going, okay, we're going to have inflation. Let's take a look at gold. There we are. Look at that. Even a volatility dot. We're trying. And you see it's right across. Let's see if we go like this. Make this bigger. Right there. There we are. You can see it's come across the zero line. We're trying. The markets are trying. We're in a weekly sell though, but it's trying. We had a volatility point here. It didn't help out much. The next day was flat. So we'll see what they do if if we get into a daily buy or if it just gives us another volatility point. There's a couple of volatility points. There's one right there. Let's see where else. But anyway, end result is I agree. Oh, it's behind. Sorry about that. There we go, George. Yep, that's what we see there. And so you can see over on the currencies. Well, let's do this too. Where's it at? Let's take a look at the 10-year. Yeah, look at that spike thing going on there. It put a charge into it. Let's see how the 30-year looks. Now, that does not, when you see something like that, the last thing you would be thinking, yeah, it's weak this morning. You would last thing, and I'm not sure if it's profit taking or the inflation talk. There's a lot of inflation talk going on right now, and normally, that would be a reason to sell the dollar side of the pairs trade, and at the same time, this interest rate should not be moving up. It should be still going down. So it may not be as much as inflation, even with us hearing all this inflation talk. It just may be a profit taking. That's all it could be. It could literally be profit taking, especially coming towards the end of the tax year. and already his commitment of how much people, in other words, where to take some profits. Imagine if you're a fund and you've gotten long the dollar and been holding and holding and holding. And let's just go back to the Swiss. You can see it's moving down a little bit. You can see this whole move. This is like a dollar move. If you've been this year, you got involved in the dollar. Everybody was saying, fade the dollar, and some of the hedge funds, that automatically is like fish. It's like bait on a hook for a fish. The moment you tell a hedge fund sometimes to fade something, they like to fade the fade. And so what happens is, I know, fade the fade. So what they do is they get long. Instead of getting short, they get long. And you have this nice run. So they may be selling some of the currency pairs right now, taking profits, getting out of their position. And that would make sense. Fade the fade. Isn't that crazy? We'd even have an expression like that, fade the fade. So instead of fading it, in other words, everybody says be short, they fade that fade. Wacko, isn't it? So funny. That's the way the markets are. They're funny. I guess it's the best way to describe it. They are funny. Anyway, yeah, they're moving them down, and you got metals trying to move up. Let's see what silver's doing. Boy, that copper has been very firm. A little weak at the moment, but overall, oh yeah, look at that. Silver's lifting up too. Let's give it a refresh. So yeah, you got the silver moving up, and it's trying. Let's put it that way. You got that. It's trying to do something. You got to figure that it's been in a sell since back here, and it really has gone nowhere except for that was the rip your face off battle of the Reddit / Robinhood traders, and the end result is that it never could get into the buys, and so every buy has not been taken and every sell has been taken, and some of the sells are like, there's a loser, and then there's the winner that makes all the money back that you gave up and then more money. And then the same thing here, there's a win, but a very mild win, nothing major at all, barely, if there's any win at all. And then obviously this win was the killer one. This is the one where you shorted it on the close, and it was rock and roll city, big win out of that. So it's just very sloppy action, really, the metals. So I guess that's a better way of looking at it. Look at it. It's sloppy. Look at it. It's going all the way back to, there's December. Look at it. It's a nowhere's market, locked in a couple dollar range. Whereas gold is much more orderly, and you can see that. We can just refresh this again. And it's been in a sell since this week, right up in here. That was the Friday. And so, it was in a sell for this whole ride down to, I guess, right there? No. Still in a sell all the way up until here. Went into the buy there. Now, that's no doubt that's bumpy, but it was profitable. It just, the metals just don't have the power they used to have. Hey, Robin, Tesla building gigantic battery for Texas. Yeah, and that's something. 1 million gigawatts or something like that. Well, it's stationary. It doesn't have to move, so that's a good thing, And they can tie it into the grid. They can probably put a small reactor or something next to it that, tie it into... Or I guess it'll collect up the energy from spare energy that's not being used capacity-wise, keep it charged, and they won't have that problem until we get a giant CME from the sun, and it'll be all dust. But anyway, that's another story. But yep, that's that was a good news yesterday. I was impressed. I've been waiting for that to start happening for like 3 or 4 decades, and finally someone's doing it. All right, let's see. Where do we go from? Oh yeah, let's take a look at the copper. Now, copper is it even moving? Just a little bit, huh? Yeah, just a little bit. Let's widen the daily a little bit too. Copper's been an interesting product. Went into the buy here, and I think we looked at this yesterday. Yeah, we did. Looked at it. It's had two. Let's see if we can scrunch this up. it's had two great moves, two great buy moves. This one here, where it went from the little low underneath 3 to 360, and then went into a sell for a week, then went back into a buy, and then made another 60-cent move, basically from the 350 area up to the 430 area. So it's had a $1.40 move out of the two buy signals, the two weekly buy signals, which have been very impressive. Now, let's put that back like that. There we are. And you can see there, even with the volatility signal, we are getting through there. Also, all three metals are moving back through that zone. So that is kind of a positive, but metals just don't have it. I mean, the cryptos and the blockchain seem to have captured that investor, I would have thought the blockchain and the Bitcoin would have made some people a little nervous after the Texas situation, but it didn't seem to have much of an effect, and no one seemed to even relate to it. I only heard one talking head out of all the financial things I pay attention to that actually mentioned it. Nobody else mentioned it, but that Texas situation where the grid goes down, obviously would make the metals more popular. So what you do is you buy little metals, you buy some blockchain, use it all. Hey, 47. Let's take a look at Canadian. Canadian's been in a buy for a couple of days now. Ooh, look at that. Finally making it into the sell. We've been in a weekly sell since back here this week, right here. And so we're in a sell there, then we went to the buy here, and it went nowhere, literally nowhere. But you can't be in the buy because we're in a weekly sell. Just missed the weekly right there. And so then what we have is you only can take sells, and it looks like today is going to set up the potential for a sell. So it's kind of cool there. Let's just throw that up on this line here. There we are. If it stays down here, maybe it'll, I don't know. It looks like more profit taking. I don't know. I don't see any sea change. I don't see any change in the direction of the marketplace at the moment. It all looks about the same to me. All right. Let's see what the euro. Well, we saw the euro. Euro's trying to do a little bounce, but it's in a daily sell and a weekly sell. Where's the line for that? Been in the daily sell since here. And the weekly sell also. So the last couple of weeks, it's been a lot of pressure on that. It's dropped from the 122s down to the high 18s, I guess you could say. What's the low there? 118.35, mid 18s. How about that? We'll call it the mid 18s. And then cable. Cable has had this nice little sell-off, but we're in a weekly buy. So it's really tough to take the short. Just tells you from up in here and not to be long at the moment or be hedged, one or the other. Remember, we always talk three directions. Be long, be short, or be neutral. In this case here, you want to be neutral, and neutral means be hedged on your long. Because here's that long. It's been screaming at us every time. This signals that we should be taking long trades all the time and not being in a position on the shorts. And then go right. You can shift that position again into the long side again. And do binaries against it or something like that, or options. So that's where we are. This thing's been, like I said, it's been driving down, but it's been holding this nice range in here, just underneath the 38s. And that's what we thought we were going to see. We thought that the new range would be 38 to 42, and it ran up beyond 42, and now it's hanging out underneath 38. We'll see how well that holds up. We'd be surprised if we saw a challenge to, say, these highs here at 35, 36. I think it's just on that upwardly projection. Now, we'd have to get into a weekly sell before I thought that anything like that could happen. No problem, 47. Let's see, where are we at now? Let's take a look at Turkish Lira. You can see still holding on to some of the strength here. We 2 weeks in a buy, couple days in a buy. Where did the buy go in? I think it was right there. Yeah, there it is right there. There's the buy. So it's just a couple days in a buy. It's been lifting up. You couldn't take any shorts out of it. Like you couldn't take that short because we're in a weekly buy. And then usually we do the Canadian from there. We just did that for 47. So now what we'll do is we'll go over to NASCAD. With just looking at the Canadian, with the Canadian down, now it's starting to match the oil market or the energies market. Let's go over and look at NASCAD. I think we saw NASCAD was trying to lift up. No, it's flat. Good. Okay, so that means that more than likely the energy market should be sideways to down. Let's see, where are we at here? I'm looking on another screen, and I'm going to throw it up there. I just want to see what it's doing here on the other screen. It's up a little bit, it looks like. I think I'm reading it right. Is it up a little bit? We'll go look and see right now. Right there. Yeah, it's up a little bit. It's got a red dot going on. We'll refresh all that. And you can see here, oh, it didn't go into the sell yesterday. Okay. So they knocked it down in the morning, and now it's come back again. All right, so we'll just keep it into the buy there. And you can see, you know, in the weekly buy for a long while, so you couldn't take a short either way with it in a sell there if you're following the service. And so let's save that. So the pressure is still on the upside, and that's why when the Canadian's going down, we should see some strength. Oh, that's right. What did I say? The reverse of that, didn't we? So let's go back to the currencies real quick. So this going sideways to down, it should be pressure on the oil, and at the same time, this going down is strength in the oil. So we should be sideways to up. So would I call that sideways to up? It looks a little bit better than sideways. It looks like it's up. It did make new lows, and now it's lifted back up. So and it's still holding on in the daily buy. It was right on the edge. I mean, it was like it was minus 0.000 something or another last night. It was really low. It was like, you know, almost non-existent. It was almost a leave it alone. But I thought throw the little red line in there just to keep anybody who's following through the math. You know that you can't get short. You can take a profit. Worst case scenario is you take a profit. So I let the red line stay in there. But now since it's shown itself, and no reason to do that. So yeah, that's the oil. And then at first we saw a couple days ago the natural gas starting to lift up again. Matter of fact, I think there's a lawsuit going on about the natural gas down in Texas. But you can see now the season has caught on. So, you know, this is pressuring. I would think that natural gas this year will perk its head up in August or September. You know, start to show more life in it than it normally. I would just think that natural gas might have that characteristic solely because of what I believe is going on with the environment. And so, you know, people are going to want to own energies. They're going to want to be invested in energies. We're moving into an ice age. You know, it's been talked about since the 70s. And then somehow or another, somebody got the wildest idea about global warming and get rid of energy products. But I think they're going to start finding out that all the numbers show that we've been moving into an ice age, and we're getting closer and closer to it. It is not something to run away from. All right. Did I say that? I think I did. Let's just do it one more time just to double check. Natural gas. There we go. Yeah, all taken care of. All right. So there's the look of the currencies. Let's go back to the currencies real quick. You know, you can see this dollar selling going on at the moment. Let's just go right back to the Swiss. You see right there. You know, they're pressing it down, and this should join in soon. We should be seeing this join in very soon. On J4X, the pressure will be on. It has a green dot, so it's doing its job. It's just that you can see here we've turned down, and you can see the same thing here we've turned down. We've turned down here, and we've turned down here. And it just has to pierce what I call like the three-dimensional zero line right here, which floats around. And it's doing it here. It's getting very close. We'll see how that goes, because we've been in a weekly buy for all the way back here. And like I said, I think this is more of just profit taking. All right. Anybody else want to see anything? Just fire it out. Stock indices have been fascinating of late. They've, they're in sells, and we're lifting today. Let's take a look at that. Let's see, where's that? Oh, over here. So you can see the NASDAQ trying to lift up today, and it's up like, a couple hundred points or something like that. Let's see what we can show it to you. It's up 252 points today. And let's go there. And you can see it's trying to make a nice move, just like they're selling dollars. In this case here, you would think it would be going down like a profit taking, but instead they're stepping up and buying. And then let's check out, at the same time, let's check out the S&P 500. Right there. Now that's jumped above. You see, we went into the weekly buy last week. We're already flirting with the weekly sell. It started yesterday. And I don't know, maybe they're going to give it another pop and then fail and just sell off again. Tax season is coming around. Money is needed. There's a lot of profit in these stock indices. So we'll see what they do with this. I guess we could even put a little green line in there like that. There we are. You're welcome there, 47. Remember, they're cheaper by the dozen. You can ask as many questions as you like. Then let's see what they're doing with the Russell. Russell's doing the same thing. They're trying to lift that up. And then I think the Dow Jones Industrial Average is in a buy. It doesn't care. The Grand Lady is, I see it was in a buy from yesterday. And it's holding up in the weekly buy from last week. It's not even challenging like the S&P does. And I believe that is, what is that? That closed at, where did it close? It closed at 31,776. The index closed at all-time highs. And today it's trading, as we speak, 3176. It's trading about up 105 points. And so we are seeing action in the NASDAQ well beyond, they've been selling the NASDAQ down. It's down off 1,000 points over the last week and a half. This has been flying at all-time highs. Just every time it turns around, it finds a way to get to another all-time high. I don't know. I'm thinking that the tax season is going to have a little effect on it. I understand there's $320 billion supposedly it needs to be sold for the tax season. So we'll see. There's so much cash in this economy. Speak Spanish? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué? No. I understand some Spanish, but I speak it poorly. Never took Spanish as a language. So, only thing I've learned is because of the people speaking around me Spanish. But Gerald just types slow. That's all. Use the symbols do it all, and you can put just spell buy or sell or the word think. Just spell slowly. You don't have to just do it mildly. We can figure out what you're talking about. And if you want to use a Spanish word in there, I'll hunt it down. I might recognize it even. So that's the action we've seen in there. And then we just looked at the interest rates, and let's see. We saw that the interest rates are dropping. When this goes down, the interest rates are rising. When this goes up, interest rates are dropping. And so as much as we, you know, believe that we're going to see interest rates, that have increased, today it says to me that it's all profit taking we're seeing. That's what it looks like. It looks like it's all profit taking because we're seeing, interest rates drop. We're seeing dollars sold. So that matches up to the currency pair situation. And at the same time, we're seeing the metals being bought, which is the inflation thing that usually makes people a little nervous. So to me, it looks like it's just a profit taking, some opportunity to take a little profits. Does that make sense to any of you traders there out there? That's the way I see it. Just a little profit taking. And then, let's see. Where are we at? Let's see what the ruble's doing. We'll go back to the currencies again. Ruble's breaking down. So it's getting some strength in it too. The dollar being sold. And let's just refresh it. Right there. And then let's see what the yen. The yen's trying to back off a little bit, but nothing major. Look at how high it is on the daily. And the weekly, both of them are really, up really high. So they're not, it doesn't mean that they have to go down. It's just that it just shows you that they're how far away they are. You can see here, we were really high up here. And it doesn't, you don't get any major sell out of it. You can see here it was high and still kept on climbing. Our math really comes down to when it breaks the time manifold here, and if the line and the histogram break the zero line here, obviously they're selling. In this case, it doesn't tell us that it's going to be major selling; it just tells us that they're selling. We can't tell if it's going to be deeper like this, or shallow like that, or a little bit deeper like this from that high. But what it does tell us is that it's breaking down and the pressure is on the downside. So just the curve tells us that there's some selling, but look, it's not really going anywhere. So, and we're cleanly, in a weekly buy here. So what it's telling us really is that this could be just all profit taking for the next day or two. Profit taking. Yes, indeed. All right. Let's jump over to what other currency pair should we look at? Oh, we were looking at yesterday. Someone asked us for the Israeli Lira, and we really looked at that last night. Boy, and yesterday during the trading too. What a trending product. Look at it. It goes into the sell and rides the trend for a while. Weekly sell, daily sell. It does a little correcting there for a day or two. Goes back into a sell again. We're in a weekly sell. Another nice ride. Over the last 4 months, it's been a really good trending product. We went back and looked at the history. It can really trend well. In this case here, we go into a weekly buy. Goes into the daily buy here. Nice little uptrend to that. It tells you it's a correction going on, and it gets back into another and smaller win there. And then you get this warning that there's pressure. Remember, we're in a weekly buy at this point, so you can't take a short here. But not to be long, and it does back off. And then we go into a weekly sell here, so it's kind of like goes into a buy a couple days before it goes into the weekly sell and pops up, goes into the sell, so you don't want to be long there anymore, but you can't get into a short because there's no red line. Right as we get into the red line here, it goes right back into the daily buy after a day, and we go into a weekly buy again, and there is another nice trend. So what another, this Israeli shekel is like the zloty, it's in Poland. It does have some good, consistent trends. It makes it easier to trade something like that when it trends for a while. And that's what that's what you want overall is good trending products with not as much, in and outs. So, all right. Let's see what other currency shall we look at that we haven't looked at. Been eyeballing the GP. We had people watching that Gbp Jpy for a while, and that's another one that does a nice trend. Look at how long it's been in a buy since back in October. And so you can see here the buys have been winner chicken dinners. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And you got yourself a sell there. We can throw that in. So it says take a little profit there. And then literally the next day, maybe not, takes like 3 or 4 days, right there, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Let's widen this so it'll make it easier to read. So the buy kicks out there. That one. Another winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I mean, this thing is firm. Firm, just firm. We can bring this down so you can see what the white line is doing. But you can tell by the histogram. You know, remember, it matches the histogram, the white line. They both can be plus or minus, but they can't be both. One can't be plus and the other minus. It won't work that way. It's just for me to get a perspective of the time manifold. And you can do the same thing with the black histogram too. You know, you can watch it the way it goes through the time manifold there. All right. Let's see. What else we got going on here today? Let's see how the dollar index itself is. Let's close that. Get rid of some of those. There we are. And let's see. Oh yeah, we wanted to look at the dollar index. So right there. Let's give this a refresh too. That's coffee au lait. But let's take a look at the dollar index on this thing. Right. Where's it at? Right above it. There you go. And there's that selling, you know, with the dollar index that we talked about. People are just taking profits today. Profit taking. Oop. Yes. So that's the action we're seeing over there on the dollar index itself. And then let's take a look at these guys right there again. Go back over to the currencies. There, that cable. Look at that. It's trying to lift up. Trying. But it really hasn't gone down that bad. I mean, I'm just happy with this type of sell-off. And when we got that warning of the sell-off, but without a weekly sell, it's a decent, you know, it hesitated, had a break or two, and then gave it again, but it's not challenging that low. There we are. And then obviously the euro trying to show life with a nice little bounce, but not even a green dot. Nothing. We do see the white line, the green line trying to make the time manifold, trying to lift up. But that pressure is on this product with the weekly sell starting in this week here. I guess in the end result is that the euro is going to stumble and bumble around and not really get the legs that it had before all the Brexit stuff at 160 and so forth. And obviously this one's been really cool to watch. Now it went into the sell yesterday, but we're in a weekly buy since like, where's it at? Been in a weekly buy since the middle of November. So you really are not taking any shorts here when you see these sell signals. You're just not long, that's all. And then you can see it here. It's trying to jump right back into the daily buy. Let's put a line in there. The Aussie Yen. What a good little product that is. These exotics really, really are trending well. They really trend well, and they have some half-decent liquidity to them. So that's the whole action. Let's see how the Canadian looks again. Yeah, playing with that little daily sell there. Well, it's in the weekly sell, so no surprise there. Maybe this time it'll be to get it rolling. Here's Aussie dollar, which is kind of interesting. It's been in a buy for a long while. We are really, I think it's like, as you can see on the fact check spreadsheet, line 12. We're 19 weeks in a weekly buy. So, and we went into a weekly buy back here in the middle of November, and it's been just, oh no, wait, it's back further. Where's it at? Right there, is it? Let's see what that is. Plus, and no, that's it. The week after, right there. So all of November and December, all of January and February. It's been marching along, doing a nice job there. And you can see, obviously, it's higher from here. It's much higher than it was when it was here when we went into the weekly buy. That's why we have our fact check spreadsheet. When you have a fact check spreadsheet on as a newsletter / analyst / timer / whatever you want to call us, we're math orientated, just showing what the math tells us. We're a quantitative type of analytical group. So, you look at that and it's like, wow, what a good move this has been. Now, it's interesting how it topped out. Did one there. It went back into a buy there. Yeah, that's where there was the buy. We put it in there on the webinar. And then now we went into a sell here again. And what was it? That was the volatility day right there. And then it put us into the buy and then pushed us right back into the sell again. That's what it did. So there's the buy. Nope, move them over. Like so. And then right back into the sell again. And obviously, there it is. And obviously you can't take these sells. You just don't, you're not long, that's all. So you're out of your long from up here. And then you get a buy again, and you can try to go for the chicken dinner. And obviously this time around, you give up a little of that profit that you had from here. Not all of it, just a little of it. And then, here we are. That's really what it comes down to, is here we are, right there. So that has been the fascination of the some of these really the mainstream pairs trades versus the exotics or the smaller pairs trades. It's been very good. I mean, we've seen this over in so many of these pairs, the longer trends. All right, let's get rid of that. And let's see, so we've seen all that. Anybody have any questions out there? We can go hunt down other things. We've seen, we found something. I think we're going to write something about this today. We looked at, where is it? It was the corn, right? So corn went into a weekly sell last week and still in the weekly sell. This is the front month in May. And let's just give this a refresh. You can see it, it went into a buy 2 days back, and now it's trying to break down again. And obviously, you don't really want to take the buy. You just want to be hedged, if you can be. In this case here, after 29 weeks, we went into a weekly sell. And all the way back into, we went into the buy in July, is that? No, August. In the dog days, the beginning and middle of the month, we went into a buy, and it was trading in the low threes, the 340 area, and ran all the way up to, what's the high? The high, $5.72. So it went up over $2. $2, yeah, $2.50, something like that. Now we are following some of the back months, the new crop. There's the December. You can see it has not gone into the weekly sell. Let's see if that goes, how far back that goes. Yep, same thing. Augie doggy. So it's been interesting is that the back months are not giving it up. So it must be a delivery situation we're seeing now. Hey Titus, how you doing? Oh, and there's George. Hey George. Let's see. George says gains are down some in new crop. Yeah. Well, some of them are priced lower. Like soybeans are like $1.50 to $2 cheaper. Yeah. Okay, I see that. CS1 and Titus says, "Hi Doc, daily NQs." Yeah, sure. We're going to show George. We're going to show George first, real quick, and then we'll jump over to Titus. I always do everybody in line, and so Titus is the last question, and George is the first question. So you can see here, there is May, the old crop, okay, trading in the 1435 area, and then you can see here, was it like the February crop, or you can even look at the deck crop. Look at the deck crop. Deck is trading at 12. Was it what is that? LEZ. So 124. Am I looking at the right thing? No, that's cattle. I'm sorry. We messed that up. There it is. November. There it is. November beans. It's trading in the 12s versus the front month being in the Mays. In the 14s. So it's about $2 difference. And then let's go over to Titus's thing with the NQs. Yeah, we talked about them a little while ago, and earlier in the webinar, our conclusion was that you can see here the NQs are trying to get into a buy. We're in a weekly sell for a couple weeks, so there's real pressure on it still. We've seen this increase in volatility, but it's not that crazy volatility, you know. And we can see here we've got the S&P 500 cleanly through here, trying to get into tomorrow's or to close of this week as a buy, or not this week, but today. And you can see at the same time we're flirting with a weekly sell again. So that's curious. And then when we go back to NQs, you can see we're in the weekly sell, and we're not even attempting to go into the buy. So then you go over to like the Russell, same situation, holding on to the sell with no problem in the weekly, and not even challenging the daily, right? So now let me just refresh this. And then we go and look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average right here. And this thing's, it's like, went into a weekly buy last week, holding on to the weekly buy here. In the daily buy, you know, that red dot wasn't there yesterday. Let's just refresh that. And it's holding up in the daily buy with no problem today. You can see that right there. It's higher than it was yesterday. So, you know, Titus, what happened with Titus's message? What happened, Titus? Just make a shorter. Did you mention something? Just put a shorter answer in there. That's our question. So you can see there this is what the Dukascopy calls the Nasdaq or the Tech 100. This is the let me just show you on Dukascopy. Yeah, the Tech 100, right there. Oh, there it is. Doc, I like using your fact check sheet in Excel on a few markets I follow for buy and sell neutral off your quants. Yeah. PB with my PC. Problem with your PC. Okay. So yeah, I'm glad you do that, George. It's it's good. I send it out to some of the old traders and so forth, and some of the Dukascopy people. But you can see it here every morning. Just tune in, boom, there it is. It's interesting to keep track of how long something's been in a buy, and then you look at the visual, and then you see you see the charts as a visual, and then you see the numbers over here on the fact check spreadsheet. It's kind of like we've been using the fact check spreadsheet since we started with Dukascopy. It used to be more numerical. I used to throw in more numbers. Now we just use the charts. It's better to combine the charts with the fact check spreadsheet. There's no problem there at all. Matter of fact, I guess Robin, if you ever want to utilize that with some of these people and send them out. Remember, I send it to you every night, so you can always grab it and send it out to anybody you want. It's something you might want to think about. Oh, also, we're going to get a Facebook for the quant Chicago Quant Technologies. She's working on it now. It's going to have the Chicago Quant email with your phone number, and she'll come up with passwords for you and so forth. You can always change them if you want. And so she's going to put that together and use some pictures and graphs and do some stuff like that on the Facebook for you. I talked with her last night. We had dinner. So that's where we are with the index. I hope that Titus, did that help out with the NQs? I hope you did. You hear the generality? I went through all four indexes again, and we're really convinced that the volatility in the different sectors is, I guess you could call it a stock pickers index market. I think that's where we really are now. Stock pickers index market. So in other words, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is cruising along like all-time highs, no problems. It's got NASDAQ stocks in it, NQ stocks in it. It's got the Dow Jones, the New York Stock Exchange stocks in it. And it's a divisor-weighted index, so it's kind of really curious, Wonder if anybody ever puts together the cap-weighted Dow 30. I wonder if anybody plays with that. That could be fascinating to see. And then, you have the S&P 500 right here. It's trying to, it usually follows the Dow, but in this case here you can see it's already trying to throw itself into a weekly sell again. So, all right, traders. What else is brewing around here? Anything particular you want to look at, we can go after. That's what we were looking at here with the back months and the front months when it came to the grain. Oh, look at that. There's the May. Starting to put some pressure into it now. Look at that. It is trying. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I guess some profit. Oh, I know. Robin was telling me yesterday. Someone there's an oil news coming out today. Bean oil. Some statistics coming out on that. So they were. Matter of fact, we can go take a look at that. Let's take a look at bean oil. And there's bean oil. And is it high again today? Yeah, look at that, Robin. It's rocking and rolling on the upside again today. And someone was trying to tell Robin that their broker was telling them to get short this thing. And we were like, oh God, no! Don't buy the weakness. Look at this. It's been in a weekly buy since the cows came home. My God, look at it. Back all the way into late October. Hedge it, protect it. I can understand all that, but I would not short it. I don't care if it does go down. I'd rather follow the math than paying attention to opinion. And you can see here it's been a daily buy for weeks. So I guess once the news comes out, they sell that stuff, right? They usually do it like a buy on rumor, sell on news. Wayside. What's the WA? Is that WASDE? I don't know what that is. Wayside. Wake up, Doc. Wake up. You're dreaming, Doc. Wake up. Wayside. WASDE. Could you move? Oh, I see. Okay, so there we are. Yeah, look at that. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, look at that. And so Titus, you did catch that all four indices, the way they are all acting different with each other. The Russell 2000 was on a walkabout on its own, not rallying at all. You got the S&P 500 trying to go into a weekly sell. You've got the NASDAQ, the NQs, or the Tech 100 from Dukascopy in the weekly sell with no problem. And then you've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average in a weekly buy and a daily buy. So it's like stock pickers for indexes, Choose your index. And so that is the name of the game there. And so there's the bean oil. You don't really want to be short it, that's for sure. And they're obviously lifting it up for the news to come. I guess they're covering shorts. And that's usually the classic, isn't it? You know, buy on rumor, sell on the news. So I guess there'll be some weakness. You would think there'll be some weakness, you know. I don't know if there'll be a lot of weakness, but you would think there'd be some weakness. There's the piggy wiggies. There's the April piggy wiggies. And then see the cattle. This is kind of curious too. There's another one of those cattle. Front month cattle is now on the sell now for a couple weeks, and we're flirting with the see what they do. Was it a double dot there? Must have been a double dot. No, I guess not. So I guess no. What it was is this line's through the zero line, so we're keeping an eye on it like that. And so the front month cattle, has been in a weekly sell, and then you go and look at the back month cattle. Like we can take a look at deck back cattle, and you can see it's in a weekly buy and a daily buy. They're not letting go. As a matter of fact, that daily buy is back, like, and we can get rid of that line and just throw it in like right there. So the back months, they are not selling the back months. And they're holding up, and you can see the same thing with where is it? That's deck. Check out February. There's Feb. Not even close. Holding up really well in the weekly buy. So it's interesting. It's the crops. Let's see. It's the crops themselves, the front month stuff, and delivery. We may be seeing delivery pressures now on the front month stuff. And when it comes to the back month stuff, looks very solid. And that could be literally what we're really watching at the moment. And let's see. Oh, you can see here, like, the pressure on the corn. It's trying to get into the cell there today. It's doing a pretty good job at it, too. Like I said, it's the front month, and so what have they done? They've pushed it into a weekly sell. And it's May, no less. It's not the deliverable stuff at the moment, but I guess it's it's permeating with the whole deliverable stuff since it's the old crop. And you can see here wheat, same situation, having its issues on the downside there. But they're not really dropping too far. It's been relatively passive on where they go. Now meal, look at meal. I think Robin and I put something in bar charts or something like that. We talked about it. When you look at quantitative analyzation, you can see here we've been in a daily sell on this product since like here, since this big volatility point, and the next day it went into a sell. And it didn't really go too far, but it's been on a down slope. And you see, we even went into a weekly buy for a week and then fell right back into the sell again. And then you could take the sells. Quantitative analysis has become so much more successful, than the fundamental analysis. Because, you would be thinking, okay, bean oil is on a mad tear, and beans are on a buy, so why don't we be long meal? But instead you can see, the meal gets pressured down, and the quantitative math is telling us that don't trust it. You can see here it's sell, buy, and back into a sell. So, and if imagine if you're watching beans, where you're in a buy, and you're long, and you're trying to be long meal, and meal's going down in value, or oil. You're seeing beans and oil in buys and really strong, and you go, oh yeah, that meal is going to catch up. It doesn't catch up. Our quantitative analysis gives you warnings. Looking at the meal there, it's like, no, we've been in the sell since mid-February. Don't get long. You can't get long. Don't get long. And if it wasn't for that pop there, which gave us one day up, and then it fell right back down again with volatility signals, and and never got into a daily at all. So you couldn't even take the buy even with the buy signal. You just couldn't be short anymore. And then it throws you right back into the short again, with this one in the middle of the week. And then, and you can see it's at its, what is that? Did it challenge that low there? The low there is 416.30, and today's low is 416.50. 412.70. So it broke the low even. So it's winner chicken dinner. All right, traders. That's the way it rolls around here. We analyze all this stuff, and through the quantitative analysis, we use a fact check spreadsheet to confirm the directions over time itself, making sure that nobody's bamboozled there. And so you can see the track record. That's what the fact check spreadsheet does. It gives you a track record, and you can go back into older videos of the last 6 months and 8 months and so forth and see the accuracy of it all. It's relatively easy to do. Now look at that. What is that? That's let's cancel that. Look at that. That's the back month corn. That's doing the same thing. It's putting the jive into it. They're making it dive down. So anyway, let's see. I guess we're going to get out of here. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you again on tomorrow, which is Happy to Hump Day. So happy trails to all of yous. And happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our cyber trading friends. And so yippee-yi, yippee-yay, cowboys and cowgirls. We will catch you tomorrow.